Hey, you guys, welcome to another session of the Sesh Connection. This is like episode 14. I see we've all survived the eclipse today. We're still here. We're still recording. We're on another episode. So here we go. Hi, you guys. So good to see you again. My name is Tracy. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate y'all being here. So, oh my God, we've had a lot going on this week, huh? Earthquakes, eclipses, anything and everything you could possibly think of. Um, and of course, we had New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, which was on the 6th and the 7th, and also New Year's Day also being National Beer Day. So I hope you all celebrated yesterday for National Beer Day, got yourselves a beer and hung out for a little bit. That's absolutely the way to celebrate it. I actually ended up at Landlocked Ales at one point in time yesterday, and you guys, because of the the windstorm that we had here, because of the craziness going on, Colorado shut down a lot of the power in certain areas, and I'm assuming that was to help with the wind factor and maybe down power lines, things like that, where the potential of. But yeah, Landlocked Ales actually had no power, and yet they were functioning full capacity, like packed house. The owner himself was there pouring up beers for everyone. It was actually pretty neat. Yeah, they even had a food truck. People were ordering food. They were ordering their beers. It was great. It really was. It was good to see that some places do stay open despite of situations like that. I remember when I worked at a couple of bars back on the East Coast. We were open 365 days a year, and that was because you needed some place to go. You wanted a place to go even on the holidays, and we wanted to be there for you. I mean, if you had some terrible in-laws, we wanted to be there for you. So it was nice to see that Landlocked Ales decided to stay open for the power outage. I thought that was wonderful. Pardon me, you guys. I am a little parched today, and not enough water today. Not enough water. But anyway, so went to a brewery this past weekend. Now, I got to tell you, there's a reason why I went to this specific brewery. Um, so when I was at work last Wednesday, one of my coworkers knew that or last Thursday, one of my coworkers knew that I was going to be in a certain area and said, "Oh, you need to try out this barbecue joint." It was serious barbecue, and so I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try when I'm out there." That just unfortunately paved the way for my entire weekend of yum yums. I pretty much sought out barbecue all weekend long. So I actually ended up at a brewery that was called A Bit Twisted Brew Pub and Barbecue. It was located in the Aurora area here in Colorado, of course. And it looks like it's the story of basically four dudes, two from Colorado, two from Texas, if you can kind of see the balance there. Two beer lovers versus two really good barbecue artists, if you would, when it comes to barbecue, Texas style barbecue. And they came together, of course, to create great beer and great barbecue. They're award winners for their beers as well as their barbecue, and these guys actually do not disappoint. They really don't. I really enjoyed. I had a couple of beers while I was there. They have about a dozen beers on tap. I did not bring this one home, you guys. I am so sorry. We are going to try a different one, but they had the My Little Ponytail Pilsner. That was absolutely delicious. A chaotic Kolsch that actually had fresh pineapple in it. The chocolate raspberry. It was, oh my God, it was a stout. It was so good. Just thick, but like it just had those really nice, clean hints of straw of raspberry in there. They even had an Irish hazy IPA called "Who the Fook is that?" I think that sounded more Jamaican than it did Irish, but we're not doing accents, are we? So it ended up that I brought home the West Coast Pilsner. Of course, I brought home a Pilsner. It's a 4.4%. Definitely held up to that West Coast hoppy taste to it for sure. It had like, that citrus and earthy yet crisp kind of taste to it. So I enjoyed that a lot. Little too hoppy for me, maybe just a tad, but every once in a while, even though I might not like an IPA, I did enjoy the hoppiness in this Pilsner. So really nice. As I said, it was nice, clean, and crisp. Let me show you what I mean too. Let's pull that one out. So as you guys can see, the place again is called A Bit Twisted Brew Pub. A Bit Twisted Brew Pub. Little evil looking on there. I love it. And this is the West Coast Pilsner. So let's crack this little bad boy open. So yeah. Anyway, also let's while I'm doing this, let's talk here about this eclipse today. Of course, as you saw, I came onto the show with my eclipse glasses on that a customer at my work kindly gave us. Um, sorry, it was a little sudsy. That they gave us, so we were able to go outside and look. So between, like, I would say about 11:45 and literally 1:32, we were consistently going out there like every 5 to 10 minutes, looking up at the sun. I will admit that prior to getting those glasses, for the first 15 minutes, I looked at that sun about a half a dozen times. I just glanced up. I glanced up. The eyes are okay. I don't have a permanent blockage on anyone. So you know. Anyway, let's get back to this here Pilsner. Back to this here Pilsner. So, West Coast Pilsner, 4.4%. Real nice and sudsy right off the bat. I mean, you can see that head forming right away. Um, really nice. It is sudsy. It is thick and foamy. You've got a little bit of effervescence going on there. I say a little bit because, as you can see, we do have some bubbles going, and we still have a little bit kind of bubbling up there to get to the top of the head. But other than that, it looks like that's going to end pretty quickly. The head pulled down and dissipated nice and fast. So, it's it's a little bit more so that you can see the sesh connection. Anyway, it's got this golden kind of hay coloring to it, nice, light, and crispy. Definitely, again, getting that apple crisp kind of smell on there. Pear probably in there for sure. Uh, it is nice and crisp, and you can definitely taste that hoppiness right there in the background. Um, feel it right back here, and there's definitely like there's a citrus to it, maybe a little bit of orange, a little bit of grapefruit in there. So definitely pulling on that West Coast kind of hoppiness for sure. Uh, Again, when you go there, you can't go there without having one of their beers and trying some of their barbecue. So of course, because I told you before, I was on this barbecue kick over the weekend. Thank you, Susie. And I ended up having their brisket tacos over at a Bit Twisted Brewery, and they were delicious. It, Definitely. I mean, you can't go to a barbecue joint. You really can't without ordering some Q. You really, really can't. It makes me very hoppy. Yes, they're very hoppy barbecue brisket tacos. Love them to pieces. But so definitely head out to A Bit Twisted for beers and Q. You will not be disappointed. Go on that Q journey. Even earlier, I said, try that place called Serious Q. Um, they're located in Longmont. A Bit Twisted here is located in Aurora, and they're open at 11 a.m. daily. Daily, guys. That's kind of a difficulty sometimes when it comes to a brewery. So it's probably because they serve food that they're open a little bit earlier, but that's always wonderful, of course. So again, that's going to be the West Coast Pilsner. That's a 4.4%, and that is by, thank you, yes, it is. And that is by A Bit Twisted Brew Pub. So the next one we're going to try here is we decided that, now don't get mad, guys, and don't get political on me, but we decided we're going to the Ukraine for a Ukrainian beer today. And what we came up with was Oblon This is the Oblong Kievsky Extra. Okay, so what this is it is a how do I want to put it? Um, it's a 12% 16-ounce lager. It's in fact it's considered a European strong lager, and what that basically means, European strong lager is it's a higher malt rather than the rice and corn adjuncts that are used in the American malt styles. So this is more going to be along the styles of a malt liquor. So, in fact, so that's kind of what European Strong is kind of all about. And it's got a mild malt flavor to it, mild hop bitterness, so they say. And I found this very odd, so we're going to definitely open this up and check this out. But it says light wine-like tone, light wine-like tone. Um, again, that kind of scares me because again, going along the lines of that malt liquor kind of taste. But I got to tell you something really odd. You guys know that I worked at Argonaut Wine and Liquor for quite some time, and something I found out while I was there. Now, you East Coasters would know this. Um, Chi-Chi's, the Mexican restaurant that ended up going down for, I believe it was an outbreak of listeria, if I'm not mistaken. So when they went downhill, yes, listeria. So when they went downhill, they actually started to create their own blend of their mixed drinks. And they used to have, guys, they used to have the coolest and greatest mixed drinks in all the land. So I thought it was very odd. And again, we're just veering from the whole beer thing right now to talk about the malt liquor versus what I'm going to say. So bear with me for a moment while I go through this story. But anyway, they started making their own drinks. So they had their mudslide, they had their pina colada, they had their Chi-Chi's margarita mix. And one day, you know, the single bottles that they actually sell for like less than $5 that have the mixed drink in them, they were sitting in front of me, so I turned it around and I looked at it, and apparently it says it should be in the wine section. The wine section. That's that's scary. The last thing I want to do is see my mudslide from Chi-Chi's or my pina colada from Chi-Chi's be in the wine section of my neighborhood liquor store. So yeah. So anyway, malt liquor. Yes. So that this is apparently supposed to be something like that. Just to give a little bit of background history on the Obolon Brewery, it was actually there's not really a whole lot to talk about. It was built in 1980. The Ukrainian actually called it the Obolon Brewery, and it was initially originally called the Kiev Brewery Number Three. Does it talk about, Brewery 2 and Brewery 1? No. No, not one bit. So I couldn't possibly tell you much more about that. I can tell you that it wasn't until 1880 or 1986 that it was actually renamed Obolon from the Kiev Brewery Number Three. And nowadays, Obolon is actually less known for its beer, and it's more so known for just its like beverages produced in general. Everything from beer to soda to most recently extracting mineral water. They have cocktails. So they went from being a brewery, which was not too long ago in the 1980s, to becoming by the year 2024 a company that is more well known for all the different beverages in general that they produce. So again, it has a high ABV, which is actually achieved through this fermentation of high gravity wort, which is why it is created into that malt liquor. Um, it's again, we're going to open this little bad boy up and see what it has in store for us. Now, when I think malt liquor, I hope you all are with me on this. I think malt liquor, and I think Old E. Um, Old English, stuff like that. Steel Reserve back when it used to be in the 40 ounces. So we'll see. See. I mean, it comes out nice and crisp in a golden color. In fact, a straw kind of coloring to it, light copper tones in there. You know, I mean, it has a crisp, clean cleanliness to it, right? But and I hope I'm not preempting myself to think the way you would when you smell an old E or a malt liquor. But I mean, I do kind of get those like those old world, like those older, heavier smelling malts and hops about it. So a little bit of like dirt cellar kind of smell, you know. I don't know if that helps for anybody in the layman's way, but it's delicious. Okay. So, as you can see, that's my first time trying it while I'm here with you guys on the camera. That's right, Ying. And I would say that it's you know they describe it as being crisp and clean. Um, they describe it as being crisp and clean. I I can't describe that as being crisp and clean. It's crispy, all right. It's crispy. Um, it definitely hits on a different note. There's a sweetness in there that maybe shouldn't be, but it is. But it is. And if that's what you like, then that's what you like. You go. Um, maybe that's just not for me. And I love to always say something nice and kind about everything. I'm going to try it again so that I can say something nice and kind and everything. Um, hold on, guys. We're getting the co-star on. So he'll stay over there. I'll stay right here. Let's give this another. We'll give it another try. Plum. I'm gonna go with plum. You know, it's very reminiscent of I would have to say when my grandfather had the Carlo and Rossi Burgundy. Yes, the jug of Burgundy. That's what I'm gonna go with on that. It's definitely wow. Yeah, yeah. Plum. We'll go with plum. Plum. So it's definitely got that high ABV. Did I even say, you guys, what the ABV is? It's 12%. So I think my 2 sips is kind of where I'm going to draw the line on that because I have a feeling that that will creep up on me, um, which we have a whole lot left to the show, floral. So I kind of put that off to the side. We'll talk about that later some other time. But for now, moving on. I would have to say that overall, it is definitely not what you would think it would be. And I apologize. As a matter of fact, for a moment here, we'll definitely hold this little bad boy up. It is the Oblone Extra, and it is the Kievsky Extra on that. Looks like it should be dark. It's wouldn't necessarily say that it is. It definitely has those copper tones that it speaks of. Um, it's heavy. It is heavy. That's what I'm going to say about it. So I think that that's going to do it for our beer segment of everything. Yes, hi, Evelyn. So I would have to say, though, let's get on to some beer events and talk about those. We already did talk about, you know, 4/6 and 4/7 being New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So again, hope you guys had a really good time yesterday for National Beer Day as well. This upcoming Wednesday, guys, in Colorado, get on it. Go to Colorado Pint Day. There are over 225 different breweries participating in Colorado this year. And the glass looks cool. It's going to be at your favorite brewery, so I'm sure the beers, wherever you get them from, are going to be cool, and they're going to taste great in your new glass. Um, you know, celebrate it. It's a fun day. It's a Colorado thing. It's going to be really cool. Yes, it was very much an acquired taste. It's one that I don't care to acquire. Um, and on 4/11, on 4/11, don't forget King Gambino's Day. It's considered he is considered, I apologize, the patron saint of brewers, the inventor of hop beer, of course. Um, 4/17, Saison Day, more of a farmhouse ale style, of course. That type of beer you know I love. The funkier the better. It's got an earthy, almost often fruity, funky kind of smell to it. It's not necessarily a sour. You will see a lot of places trying to pass it off as a sour. It is not. You want the Saison, people. Give it a try. You will like it. Many different places have many different versions of the Saison. Whatever they have for that day, give it a try. Oh, also, just to throw this in there, this has nothing to do with this, but Vine Street Pub apparently opened back up, you guys. So really glad to hear that. Head on over there if you can. You know that we unfortunately missed out on February Stout Month. They are the kings of Stout Month for that. But they are back. They are open. They are back in business. You want a delicious vegan meal? Go there. You want some tasty beers? Go there. It's the place to be. On 4/20, we got a couple things going on, right? And we'll talk about those other things, of course, in the other segment of the show. But specifically, why we're talking about it on this day, Pyramid is actually going to collab with the 6 and 40 brewery that is in Wheat Ridge, and they're creating a terp infused beer. Remember, it is an alcohol beer, but it is terp infused, not THC infused. And it is actually going to be released on 4/20 at the 6 and 40 event. They're having a big thing going on that day. Now, I know that a lot of you feel, you don't drink, and cannabis is one thing, alcohol is another. You know, I talk about and do both on this show. So this is actually really important to me for a couple of reasons. A, because I've worked for Pyramid. B, I will also be there helping to promote this on 4/20. And C, I love that they're giving this another try on the infusion process of cannabis-ish stuff and beer. We know that a couple of places have tried the cannabis-infused non-alcoholic beer, and we know it doesn't work very well. We know that some breweries have tried the cannabis-infused soda water. In fact, we tried some last week with Lagunitas, and that is very tasty. But who has created an actual beer yet that works? Maybe it doesn't work on the THCN, but we're going to see how that works for sure on 4/20 for the terp part of it. So if you like limonene, if you like pinene, myrcene, if you like those kinds of terpenes in your cannabis, come out to the 6 and 40 brewery, and we will be releasing some vapes along with the brew that will have some of those different terpenes in there. If I'm not mistaken, there will be an IPA, there will be a Pilsner, which is right up my alley, among some other styles that they've created as well. On the 23rd of April, it is German Beer Day. It is certainly the day to celebrate. It's the day that the Reinheitsgebot has occurred. It's the purity law that was adopted into beer making 200 some years ago. It stated that all German beers basically must contain only water, hops, and barley. And they stick to that. That makes a German beer an actual German beer. It is a law that they have upheld, as I said, for 200 some years at this point in time. So I believe that is going to be the end of the first part of our show, of course. Thank you to a Bit Twisted Brew Pub. Thank you to Obolone Brewery out in the Ukraine. And thank you, Yingling. Yes, I'm so glad that you're right here. Say hi, Yingling. Say hi. Thank you to Yingling, the brew dog. Of course. Yes, yes. Thank you. He loves my ears. Yes, and I love him. So thank you, guys. We're going to just roll into, and that's appropriate for the next part of our show. We're going to roll into the cannabis segment. Again, if you're just tuning in, if you're just tuning in, my name is Tracy. I'm hosting the Sesh Connection. You've tuned into the second part of the show, which is the cannabis part, of course. We've decided on today's show that instead of actually promoting a certain type of product today, that we're actually going to go along the lines of talking about rolling today, and the different ways of rolling and the different types of ways that are out there. Um, you know, a couple of stories as I go along with this is, when I was younger, sorry, mom and dad, one of the funnest things that me and my friends challenged each other to do, again, really, really sorry, is, my family lived quite close to uh, Interstate 95. Now, those of you that are familiar with the East Coast, you know Interstate 95 runs up and down the entire East Coast, right? All the way into Florida, all the way up to Massachusetts, I think ish. And so where my family lived, we were right off of the exit for 95, which went from Pennsylvania right into New Jersey. And we would have this thing that we would get onto, you had to prepare yourself, but you would get onto the highway. And by the time you got to the exit that took you to the mall, which was the Langhorne exit, you will have had rolled up an entire blunt. And by the time you get onto the exit again to come off and go back home, you had to have lit and started smoking that blunt. Sorry, mom and dad. You had to have lit and started smoking that blunt. So, that was just a contest that we all had with all of our friends. So it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just me. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It was my friends; they were the influence. Maybe, maybe. But all in all, that's what we did. It was a lot of fun for us. We were into blunts, of course, the Philly way, guys. I'm from Philly when you think about it. So for us, it's all about the way that we roll a blunt. We can't stand sometimes the way things are rolled. We can't stand when people out here call some things a blunt and they're clearly not. I have this argument with a lot of places that call what they have a blunt. There are a few that have come out with stuff that absolutely I can say that they have the right to call themselves a blunt. They look the part, they feel the part, they smoke the part. Everything about it screams blunt. Um, so when I think of blunt, of course, I think of a Philly blunt. And unfortunately, out here, we don't have Philly blunts. And it is a shame. It is a shame. So, what I actually ended up doing, you guys, is I found these rolling papers that I actually have had them for a while. I'm not going to lie. That actually are blunt papers. And they're not like your typical blunt papers because I can tell you right now, they're much older. So they're not like what's out today. I think that what I'm probably holding in my hand is about 10 years old. But they work. They work. And you know how I know that they work? Because I've rolled with these before. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to roll is a blunt, right? When it comes to a blunt, you're not going to roll it the same way that you would your regular joints. And again, we're going to get into that and we'll get into another story when it comes to that. But the first thing we're going to start with is the blunt, right? So with a regular blunt, and this is again our Philly way, I just get the paper, I go like so, I don't fold it, I just have it rolled, all right? You want to get a curve in there, you don't want to get a straight point, not with this. And you just get your cannabis, which we've ground up already, and we put into our rolling tray, and we're just going to put that into the center. And the real point, and this is going to sound really funny, the real point is to overstuff your blunt. You want it to overstuff. You want it to, because you want to get it as round as possible. You want to get it as tight as possible. Just when it comes to blunts, alrighty. You really don't want to do that with your joints. And again, we'll get into that in a little bit. And I'm just going to hold this up so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. So I have filled the paper, right, with the cannabis, and so we roll that up, put that little good stuff in there, and you just kind of want to, get your fingers and clip them on the outsides of it, right, like so. Alrighty, and don't worry about what's falling out. I mean, that's what stuffers are for. We can stuff this later, do what we need to for it, but you want to feel that tightness all around. And you just want to dig in. You don't have to be too rough, but don't be gentle. You can actually feel, I mean, you can see I'm not white knuckling it, but you can see where my knuckles I'm actually pressing into it. There's nothing really light about it, right? And as you're pressing in, you're pushing those little edges on this side, you're pushing that inward, all right? Now we're losing a little bit of cannabis as I show you this, and that's okay, and I'll tell you why in a second. But we're pushing that in, we're rolling it as we go, right? We're rounding it out, rolling it as we go. We're getting to a certain point, again, keeping it tight, where we want to get to the lickable part, right? So we get to that part, lick, lick, and roll tightly and stick, right? All right, so you want to get it like this. Now, again, mine's a little loose because we were moving it around, we were shifting it around, we were showing you guys what we were doing here. So basically, what you're looking at is it should come out looking like this. That is a nicely rolled blunt, nice and straight, nice and tight. Has a nice little mouthpiece here that I've created just from that little excess that you leave yourself on the end as you're rolling. And that little bit that falls out, you kind of want that to fall out on the end. Nobody wants to smoke they don't want to eat it. They don't want to ingest it as they're smoking. So, when it comes down to it, you want that little bit of extra piece in there so that you kind of form it into a little mouthpiece. Everything else about it, nice and straight, right? Came out nice and good. Sorry, guys. That is just my phone that's going to ring off the hook for a second, so I do apologize. But anyway, that's going to be that. We're not going to bother stuffing this because I showed you already a nice little ended part of that. So next up that I've noticed that people seem to love to do here is they love to stuff a cone, right? So when we say that they love to stuff a cone, at first, like I didn't really know when people were like, "Hey, let's roll a joint." I'm all set to roll a joint. Like, what I'll show you in a little bit. But then they'll pull out these already made joints with these filters on the end, right? I picked this one because I like this. It's a black um, cone with a nice, neat-looking filter on the end here that I liked, which is already pre-made. And so basically what you're going to do, again, is you're going to get this and this, alrighty? And oddly enough, guys, it comes with, it comes with this little tube, this little mini paper towel tube, right? That you're going to use to stuff the weed into the cone. So let me show you. I'm just going to show you with a couple little digits here, and then I'm going to put it down to show you. But you basically just put your cone into the weed like so, and you push. You push a little bit in, alrighty? You let that go down. You take your little poker here, and you push that down into the bottom right here. And you just continue to do that until you get to the top, and it's all the way filled up with your cannabis, right? You basically are going to get something that looks like this. This will be your finished product. This is what typically you'll see people buying at a dispensary, all right? This is the typical joint. It's already got your filter. It's already filled up here. It's already packed down in this. Now, a lot of times, too, we have that issue of, sorry about that. We have that issue of people saying, well, my joint didn't light very well. Blah, 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 blah. Well, if it's too tight, this is where we're telling you to take it just up and down. Roll your fingers back and forth. It's okay if this pops up. It's okay. It's all right. Alrighty, you want to roll it back and forth like so. So you want to loosen that a little bit, alrighty, so that it can suck through a little bit easier, right? And then you just go and you push this right back down. It's okay. All is going to be well. And see, your joint is saved, and it's a lot less loose than it was before. This will help for an even air-filtered suck through, basically, when you're smoking, alrighty? So that is your typical joint. As I said, what you do is you take your little cone, you get your little poker, and you just sift your weed right into there and pack it down with your little tube, right? So we have shown you how to roll a blunt. We have shown you how to roll a joint. Next up. Well, I'm going to tell the story of this next one. So growing up, I had a really good friend, and I knew him since I was like 2 or 3 years old, probably. Lived in the neighborhood, and when I got my apartment, my first apartment, graduating from high school, I invited my friends over all the time, and he was one of my friends that would come over all the time. Always hung out, and one day he says to me, "Do you know how to roll a joint, Tracy?" I think I was 17 or 18. I said, "Nope." He says, "Why don't we sit down and roll a joint?" He says, "I'll teach you." Okay, sure. Uh, Took all day. It was a rainy day, and basically what he showed me how to do was how I roll joints to this day. We talked about, and I'm going to show it again, but we talked about this joint having a filter, right? My joints, he taught me how to make my own filter, which was basically you get your paper, right? And it comes out like so. You fold it in half, and it doesn't have to be exactly in half, right? You can have a little bit of leeway because what you're going to do is you're going to press that fold inward, kind of like a paper airplane situation. Press that fold inward so that you get this, again, paper airplane kind of fold going on, right? And that is basically your filter. See that darker white right over here? That's what we're going to use as our filter. So all you do from that point, of course, is you open up your area here. Stick your finger right here to kind of keep it open a little bit, keep the divider going. And for this one, you can do the paper thing where people use a piece of paper or the end of their paper box rather to put the weed in there. You can use your fingers like I do. I don't really care how you want to pack it in there. Completely up to you. But all in all, you just want to put it in there. And this is, like I said, this is the one where you want that fold. Remember when we were making the blunt, we kept it more round. This, you want that fold. You want that crease because you're trying to keep your filter here. Weed's going to get in between that filter, and that's fine, but you're still going to have that paper between your mouth and the weed before when you're smoking it, okay? Now, this is one where you don't want to necessarily overpack it, but you don't want to underpack it. And again, we can always come back to it with a poker or with, as we kids used before, these little cardboard mini paper toilet roll, paper tube, whatever they are. Before those existed, we used a pen. So pens had many uses, one of which was to push the weed down um, into your joint better. So again, same kind of concept. You want to push in the inside into your rounded outside and fold inward. So you want to round it, round it, round it. And the whole time you're also trying to pull this down to keep that straight. Okay? So, and again, you want to do that to the front too. You're going to lose a little bit of cannabis sometimes, depends on the angle that you're holding this at. And then you want to get your lick 'em stick 'em ready, right? Okay. And twist, 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 twist. Pull. And what you want to do is see how my finger is down here still turning with it? You want to turn along with that, okay? You want to turn along with that so that it actually sticks in a rounded way. You want it to stick and twist. And then as you can see, I've created my own cone with filter down here, you can see, okay? Same kind of concept. Alrighty, just a little bit smaller, and I mean, guys, this is from 1998. So, that's how long ago I learned to roll that. And then, like I said, if I wanted to absolutely stick more weed in there, you can use a pen cap or a pencil. I'm going to use my trusty pencil with. Yeah, didn't you give that to me? And we're gonna stick the weed right at the top, right? Get your little here and poke it through like so, right? And that's it. That's it. That's all you really need to do to roll a regular joint. Simple, okay? So we've done that now. We've got 3 joints rolled, right? The last but not least, holy smokes, you guys. This is my least favorite way of rolling. 2 reasons. A, I don't get the concept of it, and B, I think I don't get the concept of it because I can't do it. I'm not very good at it, and I will prove how horrible I am at it with probably having all the wrong technique when it comes to it. So I see at work, I see a lot of you create your own cone by making it from scratch, right? So you take your little tip, as it's called, and you can buy this in the pack. As a matter of fact, our Vince pack here of paper came with two different colored tips, same on either side, but still gave you the variety option there. And then I see that you fold it basically in such a way. I've seen certain techniques. I obviously have none. That's fine. And there we go. So you basically do something like this, where you've created this kind of cone, filter, in other words, right? And I've seen y'all, as I'm assuming, seen you all put it right in the center-ish here. So I've seen this, or I've seen this. I really couldn't, again, tell you what I've seen. I just know I've seen many different ways of doing it. So in the theory and sense of how I see you guys doing it, we are going to take our joint like so, hold it like this in a cupping manner so that we don't lose that tip that we've rolled into a tube. And then we're going to stuff our joint, right? So doing that again right here. And again, don't even know if I'm doing it right. Probably packed too much. So this is like I said, my least favorite way of doing it because I don't get the concept yet of adding the tip like this. So in all due failed attempts, I'm recreating this for you now. And yes, I already did roll one, which I'll show you. So again, I don't believe that I did this correct at all because it's so loose and it is coming apart, and I have no doubt in my mind that this tip will 100% fall out. You can see all that space in excess there. So this was my finished product, and again, still had that same, this one won't even, the other one I just did won't even close. This opened and it's sitting on the table now. But I believe that this tip that I made on this one yesterday will fall out. As a matter of fact, I can see that it doesn't, it comes out so far that it barely connects with the weed, and you can see this little gape right there. But anyway, those are our joints, of course, that we've rolled. And so let me show those again. We have the original blunt, right? We have the coned joint, pre-rolled cone, of course. We have the Tracy's original taught by a friend on a rainy day in '98 joint. And then he's passed away, by the way, at this point, you guys, very dear friend of mine. And then we have the Tracy just can't effing do it joint. And that is the one with the tip that is more than likely going to fall out eventually. And again, just certainly not sure how you all keep that in there. I think myself and one of my coworkers talked about, I think we're getting this company in too at DKC, but we talked about the macaroni, the spiral filter now that people are putting, well, not now, I mean, I've seen it for years, but apparently now there is a company that is using it, and I guess we're getting that company in soon, which is going to be very interesting. I find it funny that we've now found a use for that. So, so you guys, we rolled joints. We know that we did this. These are all great factors for you to have coming up for 420. With 420 coming up, you guys, you have to be careful. There are lots of ways to get caught smoking. There's lots of ways to get caught doing things. So if you have a joint, we know it's an easy throwaway, right? And that's great. We need that. You need something that you can easily throw away. If you're vaping, you have the all-in-one throwaways, which is super easy, really great to use. When you find one like this one is from Sano Gardens. This doesn't have a push button. This actually is just an inhale through. And the great thing about this is that it actually, I believe this is like a blueberry or a grape flavor. It's a berry flavor of some sort, that's for sure. But all you would do is suck through, and the actual taste and smell that comes out is a blueberry kind of smell or like a berry kind of smell. So in a crowd that is allowed to smoke cigarettes and is allowed to vape their flavored juice, you can feel more normalized in an area like that with something like this, which is again very nice and discreet. Or guys, go the old-fashioned route. Get you a pipe that's super discreet. Right now with disposable, that is actually the pipe that I would use. Am I advertising for the company I work for right now? You're goddamn right I am. And I shall and I will. Why? Because it's a great concept, because 420 is coming up. And really, when you think about it, guys, what better way to evade and avoid any kind of confrontation with any problem when you've got something so simple? Took the bowl head out, which already has a pre-made screen in there. It's already just a poke through, so you don't have to take that screen out. You don't have to do much of anything. You're going to take your cannabis with that little piece of dog hair that I'm going to pull out of there, and you're going to put that right in your bowl head, right? Just pack that up if you want to, or don't pack it all the way up if you want to. Take your disposable with your little piece in there, pop that little bad boy in. Don't forget your carb is right there, right? Take your lighter, wherever that may be, right over here, attached to our toker poker. Nice clean hit every time. When you are finished, hey, guess what? You can take this and throw it away. You can use it for a couple days. You can use it for as long as you want at your discretion. But at something like the Civic Center Park event or something like any events that are going on this week in general, use things that you know are easy to dispose of. Disposable, some joints, or even a vape pen. Alrighty? All in one vape pen. All of these are all things that you can get rid of fast. They're all indiscreet, or they're all discreet. They are all things that you can use this holiday season on 420. So definitely, guys, get out there, get your 420 on this year. Have a good time doing it. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Of course, this past week I actually did a pop-up for Cali Blaze. They are an infused pre-roll. They have a 3-pack that is also keep on the outside, liquid diamonds on the inside. They have regular packs that just don't have the keep on them. Give them a try, you guys. Pretty inexpensive as well. They'll be there, I believe, at the 420 event at Civic Center Park. You'll see me there at some point in time in the evening. You'll again also see me at the 420 event for Pyramid at the 460 or the 640 rather brewery. Let's see what else. The dog is now jumping onto my lap. Give me a second, guys. Oh God, you were like Spider-Man, 3-legged spider. Anyway, so the brands, of course, that we rolled with, we used some Raw, we used some Betty's, some Lazy Susans rather. We used some Vince papers as well. And let's talk a little bit before we end this today. Let's talk a little bit about the events coming up. So Ollie just had his Terps and Glass event, and now they will be doing a May the 4th event as well. They'll be doing May the Hash Be With You. So he will be doing something like that. If you guys go onto Ollie's site on Instagram, you will probably see that there are tickets available, or hit him up, DM him, and ask him about when and where. The 12th, this upcoming week, is the Juicy 420 party in Pueblo. General admission, of course, is free. VIP is $10 a piece. The VIP gets in an hour ahead of time. I'll be there as well. I'll be repping for Disposable, and we'll actually be using the 111, 4 different strains that we'll be trying out in those pipes. So if you come and see me, you'll be able to taste some 111 product in the Disposable. You will also be able to purchase a Disposable from me. So come see my booth. I'll be outside at the 420 Juicy 420 party in Pueblo. On the 18th is the Fam Bam Productions rap battle. Who's got the juice? I'll also have a booth there. On the 13th, I'll be at a after hours dodgeball event for Pyramid. On the 19th is the Sensi kickoff to 420. You guys, that's going to be so much fun. If you haven't gotten a ticket yet, make sure you get it. It is a full-on industry night. Um, it's going to be great. Of course, like I said, kickoff to 420. I also have a couple pop-ups ahead of that for 111 that I'll be doing beforehand. Again, on the 20th, Tetra Lounge will be doing their Battle of the Bands. And also from the 19th to the 21st, Tetra will have a whole bunch of different things going on for the week of 420. 420 also has the Jars Presents 420 at Civic Center Park. As I said, I'll probably be there doing a Cali Blaze thing later on in the evening with them. Again, that is a free event, and again, a great place to definitely get you a disposable. Talk to me about it, of course, to find out how to pick up one, or come see me, as I said, at some of these events I've talked about. Also, again, that 420 Pyramid Turp beer release at the collab party at the 6 and 40 Brewery. And on 421, I love this to pieces. There's the Wake and Bake 420 edition at your mom's house. It is a event house. It's a beer. It is a bar that is on like 13th and Pearl in downtown Denver. They'll be doing that from 1:30 to, I believe, 6 p.m. on the 21st. So all in all, you guys have a blast. All in all, you guys have a blast during your 420 time. Smoke responsibly, guys. Don't let yourselves get in trouble for anything. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't go looking for trouble. Cannabis is a very friendly component. It really is. So, it's not like alcohol. There's no reason to fight. There's no reason to cause any problems. There's never a reason to be mad on cannabis. And you guys, I think you all know that. So, as I said, smoke responsibly. Thank you guys again to everybody. Thank you, Disposable, of course. I think a little shout out to Sano Gardens, for just showing that vape pen. I really hope that you guys all had a great time today. Thanks again for tuning in. My name's Tracy Valentine. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the show. Check us out every Monday, 7 p.m. on this channel, Mountain Standard Time. Glad you all survived the eclipse. Have a great night, you guys. Thanks so much.